All right, let's dive right into a masterpiece of psychological horror from the one and only Edgar Allan Poe. This is a story that builds terror not with a bunch of jump scares or violence, but with this chilling, methodical precision that just really gets under your skin.
You hear that? That desperate cry from the darkness? That's the climax of The Cask of Amontillado. But believe me, the real horror isn't in the act of walling someone up alive. No, it's in the slow, deliberate journey to get there.
So, how does he do it? How does Poe pull this off? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the chilling architecture he designed. This whole framework built to explore revenge, pride, and, yeah, the darkest corners of the human mind. So let's begin our descent.
Okay, our first stop on this journey is probably the most dangerous place in the whole story. We're going inside the mind of the killer, Montresor.
Now, this is Poe's most brilliant move, I think. He makes us listen to what we call an unreliable narrator. We're not getting the facts here. We're getting a performance, a story spun by a murderer, which forces us, the readers, to question absolutely everything he says.
And here's a detail that changes everything. Montresor isn't telling this story right after it happened. No, he's recalling this crime a full half a century later. 50 years.
Think about what that means. This isn't just a memory, it's a justification that he's been perfecting for decades. Over 50 years, a tiny little slight could easily be magnified into some monstrous, unforgivable insult. Any little flicker of guilt he might have felt, it could be buried under layers and layers of self-deception.
And that's the real question, isn't it? Montresor never tells us what the 1,000 injuries were, or the final insult that supposedly pushed him over the edge. And that ambiguity? That's on purpose. It leaves us wondering, is this some calculated act of justice for his family's honor, or is he just completely mad?
All right, let's move one level deeper and see how Poe builds on this foundation. We're going to look at the thematic pillars of Montresor's plan, revenge and pride.
You see, for Montresor, revenge isn't just about violence. It's practically an art form with very strict rules. Rule number 1, he has to get away with it completely, no consequences. And rule number 2, Fortunato has to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was him, Montresor, who orchestrated his doom.
And this isn't just some personal quest for him. He sees it as something bigger. It's about fulfilling a dark family legacy. Their motto literally means, "No one insults me and gets away with it." For him, this is his duty.
And pride? Pride is the fatal flaw for both of these men. Montresor's is a wounded aristocratic pride tied to his family name. But Fortunato? His is an arrogant pride in his own expertise. He thinks he's the world's greatest wine connoisseur. And that is the exact vulnerability Montresor uses, like a key to lure him to his death. As we descend even deeper into the catacombs of this story, we start to find its secret language. All the literary tools Poe uses to meticulously build the horror, brick by brick.
The story is just dripping with this cruel, dark irony. I mean, the victim's name is Fortunato, the fortunate one. He's dressed as a court jester, a fool, and he's easily made a fool of. Every little detail is basically mocking him, and he is completely, utterly oblivious.
The setting itself is an incredible symbol. They start out upstairs amidst the wild chaos and freedom of the carnival, the world of the living. But with every single step, they go deeper and deeper into the dark, silent catacombs, which are literally a tomb. It's a journey from life down into death.
So we've finally reached the bottom, the final chamber of the story. The physical revenge is over, but a deeper, much more haunting question starts to emerge.
Right at his moment of absolute triumph, after he's laid the last brick and hears the final, faint jingle of the jester's bells, Montresor admits to a sudden physical reaction. For the first time, we see a potential crack in that cold, calculated facade.
But then he immediately blames his sickness on the damp air of the catacombs. But come on, is that really it? Or is this just his mind trying to protect itself? A way to rationalize away a sudden, unwelcome flicker of guilt? Or maybe the hollow emptiness of his so-called perfect revenge.
And this really suggests that while Montresor got away with it, he escaped any legal punishment for 50 years. He never actually escaped the memory. The fact that he needs to retell this story in such vivid detail tells you it has haunted him, becoming its own kind of psychological prison.
And that leaves us with one final, chilling thought. Fortunato's body has been locked in a physical tomb for half a century, sure,
But Montresor's mind? It might be trapped in a psychological one from which he can never, ever escape.